You know that feeling, right? You finish cooking a fantastic meal, you sit down to eat, and then this weird nagging ache starts up in your low back. You weren't lifting anything heavy, you were just chopping vegetables. So what is going on? Well, let's get into it, because the fix for this super common kitchen pain is surprisingly simple, and we're going to break it all down. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's not some big, obvious move that gets you. It's this quiet lean, this subtle, almost invisible forward drift that you do over and over and over again without a second thought. But hey, don't worry, we're about to make that lean a thing of the past. All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll pinpoint the real culprit. Then, I'll introduce you to a super simple rule to fix it. We'll show you how to measure your own setup in literally 60 seconds, cover some absolutely non-negotiable rules for stability, and then wrap it all up with a 7-day action plan to make it stick. It's a straight shot from ouch to ah.
Okay, so let's talk about this quiet pain. You probably just chalk it up to standing too long, but the real story is, well, it's a little more specific than that. Think of it like an invisible posture tax that you're paying every single time you chop an onion.
And here are the two villains, right here on the screen. It's the combination of a slight forward reach plus the time you spend doing it. Look, you could do almost anything for 30 seconds and your body would probably forgive you. But a tiny little lean held for 10, 15, 20 minutes, that's when your nervous system starts keeping receipts. And trust me, it will collect.
So why are these standard counters causing so much trouble? Well, because we're not standard. Your arm length, your torso length, heck, even how thick your cutting board is, that's all unique to you. A counter that's perfectly fine for one person might be forcing you into that quiet lean, turning a standard kitchen into your own personal pain generator.
Okay, so if the standard is wrong, what's right? The solution is way simpler than you'd think, and it's called the 2-4-inch rule. This is all about finding that practical middle lane, that sweet spot that gives your back a break without creating a brand new problem for your shoulders. And this lays it out perfectly. These are the two extremes we have to avoid. If your cutting surface is too low, you lean, and your back and hips pay that price. But if you overcorrect and go too high, your body just trades one problem for another. You start hiking up your shoulders and paying a whole new compensation tax in your neck and traps. We are looking for the path of least compensation. So here's the rule in a nutshell. We just want to raise that cutting surface enough to stop the forward lean, but not so high that we start paying that shoulder tax. That 2 to 4 inch range, that's the money zone for most people to find that perfect balance.
And where do you start this whole experiment? Right here, a simple 2-inch raise. This is your low drama, easy one adjustment. For a whole lot of people, just adding 2 inches of height gives them noticeable relief in their back without immediately bothering their shoulders. It's the perfect starting line for our test.
All right, enough theory. Let's get practical. It's time to stop guessing and actually figure out your personal starting point. Don't worry, there are no spreadsheets or complicated formulas here. This is a quick 60-second check you can do right in your kitchen.
Okay, here we go. First, just stand where you normally prep your food and let your shoulders totally relax and drop. Now, let your forearms hover so they're about parallel to the floor. Next, add that 2-inch riser under your board. The key is the test. Chop something easy, like a zucchini, for just 3 minutes and then stop. And here's the most important part. Walk away and pay attention to how you feel 10 or 15 minutes later. That's when your body tells the truth.
I just love this because it's so true. Vague advice like, stand up straight. That's a motivational poster. It's not a real plan. A real plan has a specific test, a specific time, and a way to actually measure what happens. You deserve a better plan than just wishful thinking. Now, height is only half the story. To really make this work, we have to talk about stability. See, if your setup wobbles, your body instinctively tenses up to create its own stability. That bracing creates tension, and tension is the very thing we are trying to get rid of. A stable surface is absolutely non-negotiable.
And you've got options. For a quick test tonight, a sturdy baking sheet with a damp towel underneath can work just fine. For something a little more permanent, a solid block with some anti-slip matting is great, or you can just buy a purpose-built adaptive board. Honestly, the best option is the one that's stable and that you'll actually use every day.
Okay, listen up, because this is so important. If you raise your board, but you leave it pushed back a few inches from the edge of the counter, you'll still lean forward to reach it, and that completely defeats the whole purpose. You've got to pull that board right up to the front edge. This tiny placement tweak can be even more powerful than adding another inch of height. It's a game changer.
So, you've done your first test. Great.
Now it's time to fine-tune. This is the part where you become a bit of a detective, listening really carefully to the clues and signals your body is sending you.
And this right here, this is your diagnostic cheat sheet. If you're feeling that familiar tightness in your low back or your hips after you're done, your setup is probably still too low. But if you feel a burn in your neck and upper traps, or you catch your shoulders creeping up towards your ears, you've gone too high. It's that simple. Use these symptoms to guide your little adjustments.
And this is exactly why we do a short test and then check in later. Your body is really good at faking it for a few minutes. It'll borrow from other muscles to make things feel okay. The real, honest feedback shows up later on, when you transition from standing to sitting, or when you go to get up from the couch after dinner.
Okay, let's put this all together into a structured plan. The goal here isn't to find some mythical perfect height in one night. It's about finding a repeatable, reliable setup that just makes cooking every day suck a little less for your back.
Use a simple log just like this one. For the first 2 days, just stick with that plus 2-inch riser and a short 3-minute task. Jot down how you feel an hour later. Then on day 3, based on your notes, make one small half-inch adjustment, either up or down. The key is to make one tiny change at a time and see what happens.
And here's the final piece of the puzzle. Once you've got your height pretty much dialed in, the single biggest lever you can pull is time. Even a perfect setup can't save you from a marathon, hour-long prep session. So break your work into short 3 to 5 minute bursts. Chop for a few minutes, step away, and then come back. This strategy is an absolute game changer.
So here it is, all boiled down into tonight's 5-minute test. Number 1, raise your board by 2 inches. Number 2, pull it right to the edge of the counter. 3, set a timer for just 3 minutes and do some easy chopping. And 4, stop, step away. And an hour later, just notice how your body feels. That's it.
This isn't about getting it perfect on the first shot. It's really about starting a conversation with your body. So, what's it going to report back tomorrow? The only way to find out is to give it a try. You might be really, really surprised by what you learn.